just remains before the 2025 campaign officially kicks off for the SRA IEL Truck Series. What better place to close out preseason and prep for the Daytona 200 than right here at the Talladega Superspeedway. My name is Mullet alongside DJ Clark, bringing you all of the racing action from start to finish on an absolutely beautiful Saturday afternoon. DJ, it's Talladega. It's the biggest, the baddest track in all of NASCAR. Daytona is next up just 1 week from now with the opener. I don't think there's a better place these guys could prepare for than at the biggest track itself.
No, there certainly isn't, and there are dangers aplenty here at Talladega. You have got to keep a constant eye out for danger, and of course, the ever-lurking presence of the big one. We're going to see cars, we're going to see trucks, 3 wide through the majority of this run, and you've got to be careful because just that little millimeter of movement that can get thrown off can end not only your, but multiple other drivers' races.
And of course, today it's extra unique, right? Because we actually have a qualifying battle on our hands. More than 43 trucks have registered. Only about 42 or 43, though, will be able to make the grid this afternoon. So right now, everybody is on the track trying to put down laps. You're not going to see the usual strategy where half the field opts not to qualify to start at the back, or we see drivers sandbag. They got to go if they want to make the field.
Yeah, they have got to push. They cannot take any chances here in trying to hold back a little bit as we watch the number 35 truck work their way around the track right now. That's Bill Hales trying to be able to improve. Currently dead last in the field. Hales is going to need that run, but remember, the second lap around here is going to be that money lap. That's where the momentum in these trucks are going to build, and you're going to be able to get yourself out of that danger zone. So probably a good spot here for Hales to be in. Going to try to gain a little bit of speed on the second lap.
Working his way down to the turn numbers 3 and 4 as we see what Bill Hales has in store for him here on this Saturday afternoon. He's going to work his way down to the start-finish line. Michael Gudger, by the way, just went to pole position with his first qualifying lap of 54.42, while Bill Hales will cross the start-finish line this time by, and his second lap puts him right up to 16, so very much safely in the field.
Safely in the field. That's a decent position to be in. Obviously, you want to be a little bit farther to the front or further to the back, frankly. That's really where you kind of want to line out, but Hales will be fine with that. Let's see what they've got, as it looks like our qualifying is starting to come to an end. All trucks starting to leave the track.
Qualifying started to come to an end, and like you mentioned, all trucks starting to slowly but surely depart from the racing surface. It's going to be a wild race. 85 laps are ahead of us, just shy of 200 miles, and it's going to be a wild ride. I mean, we both know how these races at Talladega plan to go. They could go haywire in a hurry, but with no 3 wide allowed until lap 17, around where we're supposed to see the first round of green flag pit stops, I'm thinking we should be able to hopefully at least escape the first salvo of laps clean. But we're going to take a quick step down. We're going to tune on into the United States of America National Anthem. We'll be back in a moment after our opening ceremonies with the starting grid. Checker flag is going to fall on qualifying, and well, with that, it is about time that we take a rundown of what your starting grid is going to look like as we get set to duke it out. 85 laps of racing ready to get to life, as we will have all of our trucks gridded up on the starting grid. Michael Gudger is on the pole position this afternoon at 54.418 alongside Justin Anasogak, one of the many rookies entering this race. Zane Bailey is back in third with Brendan Gregg in fourth. Jeff Gilmore out of Canada is in fifth alongside Paul Witt back in sixth. Aaron Raymond, three-time defending champion, is in seventh with Aaron Bradford in eighth. From there, it is Bruce Dudley and Jared Duda rounding out the top 10.
Lee Tidwell is going to be lining up in 11th, followed by Jordan Young. Then it's John Powalda Jr. and Luigi Gonzalez in the row behind them. Brian Huntley lines up 15th, followed by Bill Hales. Then it's Mark Krinkle and Thomas Lane in 18th. 19th will be Jason Fensler. Ryan Wayne rounds out your top 20.
Moving on down through the field, you got the 21st place driver of Vince Heschel, a driver that we have not seen so far throughout racing action this preseason. William B. Roberts starts alongside him on row 11. Row 12 holds Mike Campbell and Robert Chisholm with Jim Kohlsberger and Mike Allen on row 13. Row 14 holds Aaron May and LeBron Van Leer with Kevin Roy and Austin Mitchell, bringing up the top 30.
In 31st position, it's going to be Joshua Highball, followed by Jorge Rincon, then Josh Small, and Javier Dawson will be in 34th position. 35th is Cody Witt, then Michael Down. Dale Rapp lines up 37th. Anthony Lane will be 38th, with Nicholas Prose and Dylan Brunschmecher, they are in 40th position.
And rounding out the field will be Joshua Jernigan and Robert Amaro, along with Zachary Mertz. Jim Duda, the lone driver, not to put down a qualifying lap, looking like he is going to be one of the only drivers that will not be getting onto the starting grid this afternoon as well. Zachary Mertz, another driver that is not putting on a time. This name, Zachary Mertz, it sounds familiar. I cannot for the life of me put a finger, though, on where I've heard it from.
Yeah, I can't either, so we'll just have to see. Maybe it's a little bit of a run here. We'll see if he can get a good one, and maybe some surprises with some antics will jog our memory.
Well, the field's going to get set to roll on out from the Talladega Superspeedway as all 42 trucks are rumbling to life. It is going to be an absolutely race. It's going to be a race chock full of drama, chock full of action. I think one thing to keep an eye out for today when a truck gets sideways, do all four wheels stay on the ground from practice and the four last preseason races? My money is firmly on no.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of blowovers here in this new aerodynamic model in the truck, so that is going to be something to watch out for. Another big thing to watch out for is going to be those bumps over the course of the running. Now, this Talladega Speedway hasn't been resurfaced recently like Talladega, so there's going to be a little bit more undulation on the circuit. That means you got to be up on the wheel a little bit more, and that means more chances for that run to go sideways.
Plenty more opportunities, but oh boy, I mean, it's not going to change how this race could pan out. I mean, there's still a long way before we'll see how this race is going to pan out, and I'm willing to bet we're not going to be seeing anybody of our from our front runners leading this race by the end.
No, I don't think that. I think that is absolutely right here at this point, Nolan. You are going to see a lot of shifting and shuffling, and my big question is going to be, who's going to be brave in that third lane? We obviously start too wide here, and we do the same in restarts, but who's going to be the gutsy one to start that third lane? Who's going to be the one to go out to it? Now, obviously, we have the rules in place to prevent third lanes from being run up to a certain point in the series, but when that third lane does develop, who's going to be the one to jump up there?
iRacing Pace Truck makes the dive down and into pit road. We're happy that you are joining us for racing action. It's the last preseason race before racing action kicks off in the Sunshine State 1 week from today. All in the hands of Michael Gudger and Justin Anasogak into the Geico restart zone. Green flag drops. It's go, go, go from Talladega. Dodger leads lap number 1 to the green flag. Already a little bit of 3 wide deeper in the field, but almost all of that, DJ, was just drivers trying to fade to the back. For now, we are smooth sailing at the end of lap number 1.
That we are, in that high lane looked like it was really losing out on that opening lap, but now as you see Paul Witt in that 429 starting to make it work. There's the 53. Jared Duda starting to just bring things together. This high lane looked a lot more formed together coming through the tri-oval. They really played this well, and now it's going to be a full-on race here between these two top lanes. A little bit of a wiggle there from Aaron Bradford. Got to watch out for that. Give it a push through the corner.
Paul Witt up to the high side. He's going to be shoved clear by Bradford. Paul Witt to the lead of this race. Paul Witt doesn't tend to lead much. He does love, though, to lead these plate tracks, but Bradford trying to make the move to the high side for the lead, but here's the problem. He's not allowed to do that, so he's going to have to tough back end line here quick, or potentially risk a penalty. Jared Duda picks up the pushing spot.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about. The league here, the Sim Racing Association, does lay down. We've got a crash farther back in the field.
Did not take long, only lap number 3 on the day, and already big problems. A multi-truck pileup in turn 1, and looking like Highball involved, Amaro, Braz, Small, Rincon, and potentially Dawkins involved as well. By the way, we thought it would only be a 42, 43 truck field. All 44 have been allowed to grid on up in this one, but our first crash just 3 laps in.
Yeah, and that's going to bring this field around here at this point. We'll take a look back at the replay here in a few moments' time, figure out exactly what happened as we bring it back right now. Let's focus on the number 28 machine. Just a bad bump. Just a bad bump coming through the turn there. That's through 1 and 2. A little bit too much overspeed. Very lucky for that truck in front that they weren't gathered, but with a 45 truck field, this is exactly what can happen.
Looked like they had a bit of a bad checkup in front of Rincon there, because that was a lot of overspeed. Yeah, they were stacking up in front. Rincon slowed up, and Anthony Lane in the 82 just didn't.
And that can be something that is very, very common here at Talladega. When you see that checkup in front of you, you may be on it. It's the same thing when you're coming down on the freeway and you've got a big bunch of traffic in front of you. You kind of throw those blinkers on to make sure everybody knows. Well, unfortunately, these trucks don't have turn signals. They don't have blinkers. There's no way to say, hey, there's a checkup coming up in front of me.
Got to look, Austin Mitchell getting turned a bit further up the road. This is going to be from the air at speed. Thought maybe an incident in front of them, but nope. All of that just started with that massive stack up middle of the field, and then just everyone came flying in. Jim Duda, though, with a legendary avoidance, and already that's a contender for one of the biggest saves we might be seeing all race long.
Yeah, and that's the kind of reaction you have got to have. Let's take a look. Oh, there you can see the speeds here at Talladega that these trucks are achieving. Remember, this is third on the NASCAR rung in terms of horsepower, in terms of downforce, but that is absolutely not out of the realm of possibility to get massive, mega speeds here at a place like Talladega. But just as I thought might be the case, we've got some drivers coming down here, taking this top off of fuel. I want to go on a little bit of an alternate strategy. I like this. If you're from about 20th on down here, Nolan, this is a great call.
Right now, everybody within the top 10 and down to 11 has not come down to see one more driver. That's Jordan Jung that stayed out as well. Everybody else behind came in, so about 2/3 of this field is into pit road on this one. Again, like you mentioned, not too surprised this. Let's ride on board with Jim Duda, what he saw throughout all of this.
So Duda sees that incident taking place in front of him, just kind of holds his own in the middle of the track, thinks about trying to move around. And you can call it lucky, you can call it good, whatever it is. Jim Duda, you're buying me a lottery ticket tonight.
And Rincon slid down and got out of the way just in time there. And here you see several drivers trying to get some of those damages repaired out of a lot of that. Some drivers going for some potential tire changes as well. May as well if you just had your tires smoked in that last one. Oftentimes with these races, it does come down to a fuel mileage race, and the big decision does tend to fall. Where do you opt to take a fuel-only strategy because you don't have the tires to go the distance? Superspeedways, though, not a track where you have to worry about your tire limits because you can stretch a set of tires a good deal at tracks like this.
Yeah, you really and truly can, especially with track temperatures a little bit on the cooler side here, where it was about 78 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperatures, which means that track temp is going to be right about in that Goldilocks zone. Looks like we've got a truck, the 09 there, just kind of randomly stopped. Not sure if that's a penalty being assessed. That's Zachary Mertz, the Cincinnati driver, maybe just needed to get a reset of something. Looks like that 09 is going to be back out and on its way.
Mertz gets himself set up. He might have had the longest line penalty he was serving, which would be a good reason to fade to the tail end in that sort of a fashion. Get it down onto the apron. That, or like you said, potentially resetting something on the hardware side of things. I'm worried for drivers like Nicholas Braz that have some of that nose damage. I've been experimenting with these trucks a lot more in the last few weeks on the surface. And let me tell you what, you get a little bit of damage on the front end, and all of a sudden, these trucks just want to whip around you at tracks like this. You lose any kind of stability in the rear.
Well, and let's not forget the fact that you're going to, not only that, I mean, you're going to lose that stability in the rear, but even just the minor instance of an aerodynamic disruption on one of these trucks is going to slow you down in a massive, massive way. So you've really got to be careful in the way that you approach this. If you've got that damage, you could be big down on pace, not really know it until we get the green flag, and then you're going to be figuring it out at the same time the rest of the field is.
So we're going to be working our way back around to the green flag. We'll restart this race on lap 7. I don't think that wreck was big enough to really call it the big one. There were quite a few trucks that did go around, but it was a pretty small wreck considering the field size we got here this afternoon, but not far off from it. We're lucky that that happened at the tail end of the field. Probably wouldn't be the same story that happened up near the front, especially the 7 getting loose and spinning out ahead of that wreck. But in the 3 and 4, Gudger and Bailey will remain as the top 2 for now. Michael Gudger has led so far just about every single lap of this race, bar 1, and looking to lead some more on the restart.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to try to do that. Watch for Bailey and Witt up on that high side, though. Remember I said last time around that top lane really didn't get going until about a lap in? I think here, if you're Bailey, if you're Witt, you're going to want to try to rectify that a little bit, change it around, get a better run here on the second go.
Pace truck is off. We work our way back towards the Geico restart zone. In control of Michael Gudger and the LSU number 64. Green flag back in the air. Racing action resumes at Talladega. That outside lane got a real good jump right off the hitch, being pushed by Paul Witt and Zane Bailey trying to go to the point.
Yeah, that's a good run for them. Jared Duda also going to be able to try to get that little bit of a run. And now on the back straightaway, this is where that high lane's going to come into its own. You carry more speed around the top side, even though it's a shorter distance from point A to point B. Bailey, though, wants to get out of it, jumps down low.
Interesting call to immediately jump down to the low side. Might not have a lot of confidence in that top lane right now, so he's going to continue to work himself around the bottom side of the racetrack. Paul Witt up top, Jared Duda and Michael Gudger now become 2 of the main pushers. Third trucks in line, you got Jeff Gilmore, you got Lee Tidwell. And this restart looking a lot more organized than the initial race start.
All right, yeah, this is a lot more together, and specifically farther back in the field, you're seeing a lot more of these drivers strung out. We jump on board here as we just see that patience being exhibited by the top 10. Love to see this. This is the way you get through a race cleanly.
Zane Bailey working himself down to the back straightaway. Paul Witt sitting just a small touch behind. Again, no free wide is permitted for another 10, coming to 9 laps. So this field's got to be very, very patient, and I'd be a bit worried if I'm deeper in this field as well, because don't forget, the top 4 rows right now here, they have not pitted as of yet. They're going to have to pit right at the head of this field. That's a dangerous thing to be doing when the rest of the field behind you is going full chat.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be a little bit careful. You've got to make sure that you're okay, trying to be able to see if they can get anything to run. Here they go, looking their way around. And it looks like that high lane's still carrying a little bit of good momentum. I love to see that.
Further down the field, some trucks starting to lose momentum. This is Bryant Huntley Jr. for Team SHR in the Gamebridge Silverado, losing a bit of time. He's about 0.6 of a second off of Xavier Dawkins-Batiste. He's got Robert Amar behind him, Kevin Roy, Austin Mitchell, Jason Fensler, all kind of in the fray. And then a bit ways behind them, this is now a second plus back, and they are losing time here for Nicholas Broads, Josh Small, William B. Roberts, Rincon, and more. So quite a few trucks have lost the draft, but this early on, is that really such a bad thing when you still got a pack like this?
Not necessarily. It's relatively okay if you get themselves together and you get to see a little bit of a long run. Let's see what's going to happen here, though. This is where you're going to run into a little bit of problems. Josh Small coming up the back here. He is going to be out of luck. They need to work together. They need to be pushing one another as much as possible and try to see if they can get their way forward right now. Because the truth of the matter is they're going to be losing out the longer and longer this is.
On board with Bruce Dudley as he makes his way down the front straightaway into the Tri-Oval. Currently running in 14th. As he tries to pick up the tail end of Gonzalez with HendrickCars.com Silverado just up the road. New trucks jumping from top to bottom, deeper in the field. I think we just saw Coleman'sberger jump down to the low side. He was running the top, and that'll put him alongside with the 29 entry of Mike Allen. I think this is the first race we actually have everybody running the proper truck numbers they're supposed to. We don't have any outliers in the field. That's something that you kind of run into a lot in those open lobbies, right? But now that we've gotten these guys sorted, everybody's got their assigned numbers in an actual proper league session, things are looking a lot more tighter.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more together here, a little more civilized, let's call it, as we watch the 56 work on by. That's Chiswick trying to be able to get a little bit of a run. We're not seeing a lot of movement. I just saw it coming out of third place, maybe a little bit of a move, but let's see what they can go with.
Chiswick with a lot of experience on the iRacing surface. Florida native, he's going to be swinging back to his home track. Coming on up 1 week from today for the season opener. Trying to put in some good momentum here at Talladega so we can carry that momentum through into the season opener. I'm curious to see how aggressive drivers are going to be, though, right? Because remember, we talk about it a lot, right? Superspeedway racing, it's all about strategy. And with how similar the racing at Talladega and Daytona tend to be, how much do you want to overplay your hand here and potentially give away some tricks to prep people for the opener?
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of a reserve, a little bit more of a muted end to this race. The drivers aren't going to want to necessarily show their secret weapon. Now, I think during the course of the race, you may want to show a little bit of it, trying to see what they are able to get done, what everybody's going to be like to work with, because you want to figure out that knowledge. You want to figure out how you're going to drive, how everybody else is going to drive. But I think near the end of the race, you're not going to see the sneaky moves that we're going to see necessarily.
Joshua Highbaugh coming down and into pit road, and is that damage on the right front already there on the restart, or is that new? I thought that tire was shaking a little bit, but it looks like it, I might have just been catching the Goodyear signage on the side of it.
I didn't see a whole lot of shaking there, so I think it's okay. But he's going to be down in pit lane one way or the other. Maybe just something a little bit amiss there for them. Let's see here. Get back in the field. You see those trucks kind of poking their nose out of line there? That's a twofold maneuver. Number one, that's going to slow you down a little bit so you don't have that checkup. You don't have that overspeed coming out of the corner. And the other thing is that's going to get cool air into the engine and make sure nothing goes wrong. You're not going to have an overheating issue.
Coming up to just 3 laps away from when that 3 wide is supposed to take place. I'm willing to bet about the top 8 or so, and then plus you include you include Cody Witt in that mess as well. I think they're going to be pitting somewhere around lap 20. They were able to save quite a bit of fuel under that caution, so I think 3 laps away from us being able to go 3 wide and about 5 or 6 away from seeing the drivers that didn't pit under that lap 3 caution to come down to pit road for their first green flag stops.
Yeah, I think that's going to be about right. These drivers have tricks that they can do to kind of save a little bit of fuel under yellow flag conditions, and obviously when you're running slower, you're going to be saving fuel regardless, so that's really going to help you out. And we have to remember here that we may see different groups cooling off. These leaders, when you look at Bailey and Witt, they're going to be using more fuel up at the lead of the race. But when you look at the likes of Gudger or Duda that are a little bit farther back, those drivers are going to be able to lift and coast through the corners a little bit more. They'll be able to save a little bit. But the biggest thing, like we always talk about here, on a big super speedway, you've got to pit in a group.
Yeah, pitting alone is effectively suicide for your race at a track like this. You just cannot afford to pit single file here. Take a look at where the runs are coming from different lines. Not seeing too much difference from top to bottom. And I think that really does go to show just how conservative everybody's being. You see Bailey get a little bit of a push there by Gudger into turn 3, but usually if these guys were actually pushing hard, that top line would be running them down as they came off of turn 2 there.
Yeah, everybody's in a wait-and-see pattern right now. Nobody's getting too aggressive. Like I said, we're still waiting for that effective second green flag to let that third lane open up. And so we're going to have to see what drivers decide to do here, how they decide to push, how they decide to get their way going. We're going to take a look on board here. This is Leland Van Leer a little farther in the back. We just saw a driver in front move that truck down in front of Van Leer, trying to see if they can maybe get a little bit of an angle, try to get themselves a little bit farther up into the field. I don't hate that from anybody. It's a good call. I think that's I'm not sure that's Wayne or Young in front of him.
I'll take a look on where everybody's situated as it stands. This is the track back top right of your screen. You can kind of see where these two different packs are formulating. You got first on back to about 35th, only one big line, and then you've got 36th on back, and then Joshua Highbaugh and Michael Dow are both still sitting in pit road after that lap caution. They are both out of this race effectively as of right now. So right now, everybody's still very bunched up. We'll check in on how that map looks again after green flag pit stops, because it's going to look real different, because that's the thing. No matter how coordinated a pit stop is, you are always going to leave some drivers in the dust behind you.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what happens, there's going to be that little bit of a slowdown. There's going to be that little bit of a checkup that always seems to happen coming through the pit lane at that particular moment. So we're going to have to see what exactly takes place.
And critically, we are on lap 18 coming to 19, so 3 wide has been opened up, and there we go. Right there, you see one driver getting shuffled out wide. That, I think, is Henschel, I want to say, on the outside line. No, that's Chiswick getting muscled out. Oh, trouble trucks into the infield grass. One going around, that's Austin Mitchell sliding it out. Can he save it? Still hanging on. What a save from the 7. Oh, maybe not. He's still pedaling it.
Oh, he's going to try here, but we're going to stay green. That's the crucial thing. Able to collect it back up. That is some impressive driving.
That was a wild moment for Zachary Mertz, and he went off with somebody else, so there was a couple of incidents that went awry with that, and we'll try to get a look back on what happened here. Coming off of turn number 4, Austin Mitchell, you see him on the high side of the racetrack there, 3 wide, tries to get down into the inside line. The inside lane checks up big time, and he gets hit from behind by the 09. Slides to the infield grass. The 09 truck did a fantastic job to get around that as well, but Mitchell, brother, like, let the truck settle a little bit. Take another look on board.
All right, we're going to take that look on board here at this point. Let's see what they're able to get. There we see it. Just a little bit of a miscommunication. A little bit of that checkup in front, trying to gather it. Ew, and losing it again. Just kind of gassed it up a little bit too much coming through the grass. I think that was the problem.
Pit stops as well currently underway. You see a big pack just leaving pit road, headed up by Jared Duda. So Duda, Bailey, Witt, Gilmore, Gudger, Witt, Chiswick, and Braz all in the pit road. Now 3 of these trucks took tires, 3 of them did not. And here comes Lee Tidwell all by himself. Lee Tidwell has just secured himself a one-way ticket to go in a lap down.
Yeah, that's not great there at that point, so that's going to bring him back around right now. But let's see here. Their way on through. Don't love that for them, but we'll see.
So Tidwell going to be into pit road. Look at how much this field is single filed as a result of that. That tells me these guys, they are gearing up for green flag pit stops within the next 3 or 4 laps.
All right. Yeah, we're going to be bringing it on here pretty soon. And when that happens, it's going to be an absolutely mad dash to be able to get themselves on through. So that's going to be a little bit crazy to see what. Here we go. Yep, first one taking it down. That's Allen.
Mike Campbell coming into pit road. Mike Allen in just behind him. Only 2, though, coming in this time by. They should be close enough that they should be able to get themselves out in front there. Campbell, I don't think, did himself any favors by trying to push his way to the front early, because that has left him about a lap shy on fuel.
Yeah, that's not great. Again, that's that situation we talked about. Coming down into pit lane early. Not what you want to do.
Rennie Gregg now leads the way, still single file as he work our way into turn numbers 3 and 4. And how many do we bring down this time by? None from the front group. I don't think any overall this lap. How about that?
I'm surprised by that. I would have expected at least 5 or 6 to try to make their way in, but apparently not. Apparently everybody just wanted to hold it out here as long as possible, and I get that. The longer you run here in this session, the more time you're going to have, the more options you're going to have later on.
And they're hoping for a caution, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping there's going to be a lucky yellow flag that comes out, kind of saves them a little bit from having to make that gamble. The problem is, if that caution comes out too late, now you have to pace around at an extremely long racetrack with potentially less than a lap of fuel left, and that cannot be a good feeling.
No, you do not want that to be in a position to be able to have that.
Oh, boy.
Think about it. Here we go, and this could be a little bit of a problem.
Oh, one truck locking up. They're going to get it slowed down, and oh, never mind. We've had one go into the wall. I think Aaron May caught the inside wall when he was coming down to pit road, and here comes everyone else behind them.
All right, here they come. Everybody lining on up here at this point. Coming. Oh, somebody missed their pit stall. That's the 66.
Yeah, the 66 truck. That's Xavier Dawkins-Batiste at the tail end of the field. Look out for the 13 coming in. Oh, another 99! The 99 spins out of pit road. He could catch a penalty for an unsafe pit exit for that. That's not a good sign.
No, it was not. Oh, you hate to see that. That's one of those little intricacies of iRacing. Let's take a look here at this point.
Wheel hop.
I don't even know what happened.
He wheel hopped it. That's what happened there.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
you can hear the chattering as they came down into pit road, and then we'll try to get a look with what happened to Jordan Jung here. This was as he was leaving his pit box, took a fuel-only stop. I think he got hit on his way out. That or spinning up the wheels, still spinning, still spinning. Nope, he did that to himself.
Yeah, I think just the spinning of the wheels there was enough to be able to take it out and throw it around.
You see another group making their way out of pit road. That's Grutzmacher, Lane, Hales, Fensler, Krinke, Bawalda, all making their way out of pit road. There you see the leading group making their way around them. Paul Witt now leads the way. Aaron Bradford, the lone truck that is not pitted. He is now coming in now for the Craftsman #1. This is not a good sign because, again, he is all by himself. Paul Witt should cycle through to be the net race leader.
All right, so that's going to change a lot there with that #1 coming down into pit lane. Don't love to see that. Obviously, that's going to really slow them down. That's not going to be what they want to have happen, but we'll have to see.
So far, The split call on who wants to take 2 tires and who took fuel only. Brennan Gregg, I think, got caught for not an unsafe pit exit, but I think for speeding on entry. He's the only driver that had to hold for about a lap, so he is now a lap down, about to be 2. And as of right now, new track map now it looks something like this, and look at how much that first run of stops has just shattered this field.
Yeah, absolutely thrown around the field here at this point. And we've got a single lane up at the front. I mean, look at this. Everything's spread out. There you see a little bit farther back, we've got 2 lanes working, but my goodness.
This here is the battle for 11th on down. And 3 trucks making their way around to the high side. That's Duda, Huntley, and Grutzmacher that have just powered around a lot of this bunch. So they're now going to pick up the lead of this, I guess we could call it a secondary pack. And they are rapidly reeling in this trio up here as well. So they could potentially line them up. And if they can get themselves single file, there is a chance they could run this field down. Because look at this. Jeff Gilmore just dunked out a line. Paul Witt dunked out a line as well. Nobody wants to lead this front pack right now.
No, nobody does. Everybody just trying to get out of the way and get themselves together. I mean, everybody's, I think, in a fuel-saving mode here at this point.
I don't blame him. Try to save whatever fuel you can. It looks like we're going to be in this green flag run for the long haul. Anyway, checking in on the 3rd pack real quick. Here's a group of 2, Aaron May and Justin Anasogak, that are about to be swallowed up here. So Aaron May, out of all of that, it looks like May has managed to escape that little incident he had entering pit road, more or less unscathed. You don't see that very often. He is a lucky man that he had that wall right there and he'd already slowed it down pretty much to pit road speed.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Very, very lucky. They're going to be counting their lucky stars here at this point.
So we're going to lap 28 out of 85, and a few more trucks started to go double file in the second group. What's your take? Single file or double file? What's the play right now if you're trying to just play it safe?
If you're trying to play it safe, you want to be in single file. That's less cars around you, less problems, less anything to really come up with the problem. But I get the urgency to try to go too wide. You want to put yourself in a position to lead.
We'll try to get a quick look here, and we can give ourselves some insights as to who has taken fuel only. If we can, maybe we'll be able to get it up properly in just a moment. But right now, seeing how we're going to be able to make this work. Right, here we go. So here's the pit stop times. Kind of tell who took 2 tires, right? So it looks like Duda there running 9th. He took 2 tires. Everybody around him did not. And now we'll move down, take a look at 16th to 30th. Mostly fuel only. A few might have flirted trying to go for 3. Or for 2 tires, sorry. But nobody so far, except for a few that are all the way in the back, took 4.
Yeah, nobody's really going for it at that point. So, and you know what? I'm not surprised by that. Like we said, this is a super speedway race. You're able to run pretty long on a set of tires. Keep your advantage as much as possible.
Absolutely. Try to keep whatever advantage you got. I mean, no reason to come down and pit. I remember once I was calling about a 6-hour endurance race on the Daytona Oval in stock cars, admittedly, not trucks, but with the Gen 7 stock cars. They were able to triple stint those tires on 100% fuel without changing a single one. It is doable. I don't think there's any reason to really change tires this race if you're under green.
I don't think there is either. I mean, just keep everything together and keep it going. That's why mess up a good thing, is basically what I'm trying to say.
The only exception I could see is maybe taking left side tires. And the sole reason for that is because it's going to take you about the same amount of time to change left side as to get a full tank of gas with the fuel limitations we have. No downside to it.
No, there's no downside to it. The only caveat that I will give in result to that, or in response to that, is the fact that you're gonna have a different handling car than you would in normal life. It's gonna be a little bit different. It's going to handle differently. It's going to respond differently to inputs. And if you haven't practiced that, then you could be in a little bit of trouble.
You're not wrong, which is why it's so important to get whatever kind of practice you can. A lot of people, when they practice for qualifying. They practice the hot lap. Everyone wants to be on the top of the timing boards. Qualifying doesn't win races. It's a huge part of it, but especially on super speedways, it does not win you races. It is so vital to practice, especially when it comes down to pit road, pit stops. Derek and I were hammering on that point over and over and over again by just watching the huge differences in overall pit deltas just because of how much people were attacking or loosening up on entry and exit because they hadn't practiced it.
Exactly. You've got to be super careful about it. You've got to make sure you know what you're doing and you're not going to run into any problems. You've got to cover off every single contingency.
Jason Fensler was double filed. He's now tucked in line, so the second pack is now almost completely single filed out. We are now lap 33. Pit stops were around 19 to 24. Trying to do some quick math on this one here. So if we go 24, we're looking at about less than 10 laps away from the next set of pit stops. I think within 10 laps, we're going to see this whole field have come back down again for their second stops.
Yeah, I think you're about right on that, but let's wait and see exactly how this will play. Remember, it's going to change around. The first time we had the pit stops, it was really a result of that caution period that we had. So that's going to be a little bit different.
So pack 1 single file, pack 2 single file, pretty much the first race, except maybe 1 or 2 at the back. Pack 3, about 24th on down, have not gotten the memo. They are still very much running double file. Lee Tidwell up on the high side of the racetrack, William B. Roberts down low, Dale Rapp, and got the one of Bradford in the mix, Chisholwick, the only other truck up on the outside. I'm curious to see such a break on the inside of the racetrack. That really does tell that these guys, they are trying to play it safe deeper in the field.
Yeah, I think they are. They're clearly trying to hold on here for a caution, I think, is what they really want to be able to see. They want to wait as long as possible. They don't want to push too far ahead. Just want to see exactly what's going to happen.
And all of this, while Gudger and Co. continue to lead the way up front. Talk about what's coming on up for the SRA IEL Truck Series. Their first 3 races will be all throughout January. They have the SRA Open at Daytona, 100 laps for 250 miles coming on up just 1 week from today. And then we'll swing out for the Hampton, Georgia 200 over at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the Nevada 150 at Las Vegas the week after, 135 and 100 laps respectively. We talked about it before, right? No road courses on the 14-week calendar for these guys, and that's unusual to see. Usually there's at least 1 or 2, but not this time. There's been a road course in every season pass for this championship, but this is going to be a new one.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a change. Let's see what they're able to do with it. I'm very curious to see how this is going to respond to drivers and how they're going to take it. I mean, normally that road course has served as a little bit of a wild card into everything. We've seen a lot of drivers get surprising results, for lack of a better term, coming on in. So I'm going to be curious to see what they're able to do this time around.
And all throughout the rest of the week, leading on up to the Daytona Open, or for the SRA Open at Daytona next Saturday. We'll kick it off on Monday night with the High Tide Racing League MF Designs Premier Series out at the Paperclip at Martinsville Speedway for their 14th round. And then it is quad season overs in a row. Now, SRA caps that one off as, oh boy, 3 wides for live traffic is a choice. OSRL, they are kicking off their season opener also in the Sunshine State, as is the PRA Rev Limit Workshop Pro Series with their Daytona duels coming on up on Friday night as well. The only championship really this week besides High Tide that's not going to be at Daytona in the next week is the Beer League. They're they're up in Canada at the Canadian Motorsports Park for their opener.
Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty good to see. Always good to see cars at CTMPO is one of my favorite ways to see cars take out there. I love CTMP.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Here come a group in a pit road. Zane Bailey really kicking the tail end out as he drove it down and in. But Highbaw's in, Gudger, Duda, Witt are all in the pit road. That's left Raymond, Gonzalez, and Gilmore, in theory, out on their own. But look at where they are. A lot of lap traffic around them. That is helping them keep some good distance from the second pack behind.
Yeah, that's really helping them out there at that point. So let's see what they're able to do now that everything has taken place. All right, pit stops. Oh, no, never mind. That was just a little bit of
Yeah.
there.
We're in turn 3. I hope we're not pitting this early.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now we
There
got
it
pit
is.
stops.
All right, that's a little bit better.
Boy, a big aggressive drive in for the 44. And look at Mertz having to stop real early because he's the first box in. So he's out about as big of a risk as anybody with his pit stop entry just based on where his box is. We haven't really talked about that much. It never really comes up in races, does it? I mean, how early some of those pit stalls are. They're not trying to slow down to 55. They're having to slow down to 0.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is very difficult. Remember, these tires not made for, or these brakes rather, not made for slowing down. They're made for rotating the car, so it's a little bit tricky.
Nate Tidwell is in. Robert Chiswick is in. These are all the drivers that pitted about they pitted under the lap 3 yellow. They're about 4 or 5 laps shy. The rest of the pack coming in, and as predicted, we're not going to be seeing the rest of these guys in for about 3 or 4 laps. So right now, Thomas Lane Jr. stands with the lead. If everything went well in pit stops, though, looking like it might be Aaron Raymond that cycles through this time by, because Paul Witt all the way back here.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising to me to see Witt that far down in the field. Again, you really need a yellow to change this around, to get things different and to make things work.
Thomas Lane Jr. still leading the way as they works down the back straightaway. He's got Brian Huntley Jr. just behind him. Jim Kolbensberger in the mix. Jim Duda, he's back in 4th. Ryan Ware in 5th. We see them come down to pit road on lap 40. Not quite. They'll send this into 41.
All right, they're going to keep going, and I think, again, we are going to see just as much as we saw last time around. Drivers want to stay out as long as possible.
Campbell, Allen, both of the mics are in. Oh boy, I think somebody just caught the grass. Somewhere on the racetrack, I'm not sure where or who. I saw for a split second on the event viewer, somebody was off track. Less than about half a second, they'll say, might have just barely nicked some infield somewhere on the racetrack.
Yeah, not sure exactly what that was, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I can tell you right now, through that camera we had just seen, there was a tire track in the grass. So I'm not sure.
Okay, so that does give somebody.
No! Look out!
Catch it!
No! Right into the side of Van Leer. The 99 catches the wall. We got multiple trucks now being squeezed out. Oh, dear. Disaster on pit entry for Dudley, for Van Leer, for Heschel. Good grief.
Yeah, that is very, very rough. And that's exactly what we talked about, that breaking down into the deacceleration zone into pit lane. That just leads to calamity upon calamity. Let's take a look at the replay. There you see the 11. They came up out onto the actual track. That's the way that rear axle locked up.
Huntley,
and then, yeah.
Huntley got loose. Kolbensberger overreacted.
Yeah. I think that hits the nail on the head there, Nolan.
Dudley and Herschel are not going to be happy about that. They were just minding the business. They had that missed, and then all of a sudden, they just got cleaned out because somebody decided, trying to ride this out instead of just locking it down.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, as more drivers now make their way down into pit lane, including the number 35. Big group coming on in.
A lot of drivers very slow as well because they're having
Oh, we've got caution.
Oh, trouble into the grass for one. Gonzalez is in it. Gudger is real slow. Not sure why or what, but I think Gudger might have something to do with it. That's not good news for Kolmensberger. He's going to have to be worried about that fuel number.
Yeah, he's going to have to be very worried about that fuel number, as now with Gudger being, as a result of that, that was coming through the tri-oval there, Nolan. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I looked up out the commentary window and just happened to see it.
Looking like Gonzalez was off track. Zachary Mertz was off track. I'll try to figure out what went wrong here through the infield. Ooh, right there. Mertz hooked hard into the outside wall. And no steering, can't control. Just clean Gudger out. And oh boy, that 64 truck got into the air.
Yep, we said it was going to happen, and indeed it happened. There it was.
Hard lick into the wall, and then look at how high this 64 gets. I mean, he didn't go over, but there's no roof flaps deployed on that truck.
No, there are not, and that is not what you want to see from a safety standpoint by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely see that popping up into the air. Don't love to see that.
Trying to get a track on where Mertz is now. Want to get a look on board of him, if at all possible. But for now, the field's going to work their way around under the yellow flag, and expecting for Grutzmacher to be coming in this time by Mertz all the way down in 40th. He was already a lap down when all of this went on. This is on board with him.
Let's see, coming up here.
That is weird.
Did he maybe try to brake late going down into the corner? Or going down into the pits?
I don't think he was trying to. He had already pitted him just 5 laps earlier.
That's a good point. Was there, I mean, it didn't look like there was a contact in the back or anything.
Was there, though? I mean, there might have been. That's what, Aaron Raymond right in front of him there? Yeah, that was Aaron Raymond. Right on board with Raymond, who's just leaving pit road in 3rd. Ooh, little kiss. Right rear. That'll do it.
Yep, that's just enough.
And that 44 truck scrambled through the infield.
Yeah, big time.
So Grutzmacher and Krinke are both making their way up and around. A lot of trucks have to stay out in order to avoid being pinned a lap down as a result. This is terrible news for much of this field, but caution is out for the first time this afternoon. We're going to take a step back. When we return, it'll be the restart on Green Flag TV. We're only getting started.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Again, he's set to return to Green Flag Racing. Jason Fenzo, Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez, Zane Bailey, Jim Duda, and Paul Witt are the top 5. Ryan Ware caps out the top 3 rows as it stands. Ready to return to racing with 39 laps on the docket, DJ.
All right, as they come back in here at this point, we've had a little bit of that shuffling around up at the front of the field, but we will have to see what drivers start to do at this point. 40 to go, under halfway. Let's bring this along.
It's a long wait for the restart zone. Gotta get all the way through the tri-oval. I wonder how many people have gone on that guy side of the outside wall instead of waiting all the way. I know I've made that mistake once or twice before, but the mistake you only make once. Green flag's up in the air. We're racing once again.
All right, here we go. Back to it. Green flag.
Great jump from Gonzalez and Jim Duda on the high side of the racetrack, but they have not gotten up to speed. So here comes Jason Fensler, shoved by Zane Bailey. They're going to drive to the point down low. Fensler picks up the #1 spot, and Jim Duda quick to abandon Gonzalez on the top side.
All right, Abansom's on the top side, moves his way on down. Let's see what everybody else is about here at this point. Fensler getting that huge bump from Bailey. Love to see that, but the 44 up on that high side. Don't leave them out. Remember, we saw this off the initial restart. Come back around.
Turn 4. Bailey continued to push Fensler. I'm surprised you haven't seen a lot of 3 wide. I mean, we're allowed to go 3 wide off of the restarts now, but no, a lot of drivers still opted to play it safe. They know we've still got at least one more pit stop window in us yet. And speaking of pit stop windows, it is worth noting that Grootsmacher came down a second time under that caution just to top up on fuel.
Yeah, so I like that option. That gives them more time to be able to sort everything out. It's a good call. The more time you've got to spend on track, the more time you are able to call your own pit strategy.
So up at the front, it'll be a race between Fensler and Gonzalez. A few drivers starting to duck their noses out, might be trying to either cool the water temps or try to maybe think about sizing up a move to advance their way further through this field. Both plays equally viable at this point. I think this is one of the most diverse points in terms of strategy, because you're going to have some of those guys that are just trying to push hard because they have accepted the fact they have to have potentially a 2-stop left. And then you got some drivers that are going to be playing it very safe because they're trying to cut out that last pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're able to cut out that last pit stop, then we've got a ball game.
Whoa, look out, Campbell going around, spins into the air, front end lifts up, Bawalda hard into the inside wall, Bruce Dudley hard into the inside wall, one truck grinding against the outside wall, that's Bradford. We are under caution for the 3rd time today.
You hate to see that happen once again, but of course it does. Not entirely surprising, I have to say. Oh, not the big one, but close.
Not the big one indeed. A few trucks getting up into the air there with that. There you see Campbell already turned sideways as he got hit for the inside line. There you see Rincon sliding in the background, able to recover. Dudley came down. Bawalda came down. And let's be fair, Dudley being there saved Bawalda from going head on into the inside wall, which would have been a vicious impact.
Yeah, he wouldn't be coming back from that, but I think you're right about that, they certainly do have a little bit of a better run thanks to that initial contact with the car.
Try to get a look on what happened here to Campbell real quick. This will be up in, well, that's a little bit too far back, but we're not too far away, but coming down to the turn number 3. Watch the 99 behind. That's Jordan Jung. Did they check up in front? Wow. What was that?
I'm not sure. Very strange. Very, very strange.
Bradford just had his truck completely loop around on him and go into the outside wall. But here comes everybody into pit road.
Yeah, not surprised by this again. You do this here at this point with the lapse of caution, probably get this done on one more stop.
So they're on board with that camera right at the end of pit road. Already you see some drivers like Fensler making their way out. Kevin Roy, the KNC Sim Motorsports driver, actually staying out under this yellow flag, the only driver to do so. And he is now going to pick up the race lead as a result, 5 laps off cycle.
All right. Very, very interesting. This call could be brilliant. Could come back to bite him in the backside, but we're only going to have to wait and see. That's really going to be interesting to see.
And we'll try to see what happened to Aaron Bradford as he came up and around. You see the rank just up the road. You see Rincon down to the inside have a huge snap, and he just I think he locked up the brakes and it just went around on him.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think he just snapped. I think it just literally came around. Again, these rear axles not really designed to slow the car on the braking. It's much more.
Oh, good job, Rincon.
That was very nice.
I ran over from behind. That much was clear. He did a phenomenal job not to hit Huntley in front of him. I want to get a ride on board with the 99 if we can, with Jung here. Take a ride on board, and what did he hit? It looks almost like he ran over something and cut a tire down.
Yeah, I mean, that's very strange. Let's take a look at this again. Comes down.
No one touched him. No one was even close to him.
Touched him. I am wont to leave things as hardware failures. I think sometimes that can be a little bit of a cop-out in terms of an answer, but I really think that may be a hardware problem.
I don't even think it is, because, I mean, he drove away from the wreck just fine. I don't think his wheel failed on him. It's definitely not a screen blacking out. No. We know what a screen looks like. We know what a screen looks like blacking out. That's not it. It's not a hardware failure. It's not a wheel failure. He didn't go full lock. You could see him rested the car trying to save it.
Yeah.
All right, so net code bug 101 costs a flat 49 caution is the call for race control. I mean,
I'm gonna throw another one into the mix. Cat.
Well, I don't think a cat would be able to do well. Cats are
Maybe
corporeal beings. We know this much.
I mean, maybe, it's happened to me that something comes in and the car kind of jerks a little bit because the cat scares me or something like that, but you never know.
The field going to make its way down the back straightaway. Roy, Bailey with the top two. I'm worried for Kevin Roy. This could work out, but he would need a few more quick cautions in order for this to actually be a viable strategy for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he needs one or two more to, maybe just one more to make this play out, but it could happen. It could work.
So Roy, running that Mobile One Sirius XM Ford F-150, be in control behind the iRacing pace truck. We'll have to wait for that green flag to drop. That is, I still think, one of the strangest incidents I have seen to date at this racetrack.
Yeah, it's not something I would be used to seeing. Very, very strange. Very, very strange.
Into the Geico restart zone. Roy jumps on the loud pedal. We're under. Oh, we are not. Campbell already around. Back to the field. Caution comes out where they even get to the start-finish line.
Boy, I think we had a checkup in the mid-pack there, and that could have forced somebody around.
Yeah. That's a shame, because that's the same truck that just went around to bring out our third caution.
Well, when it rains, it pours. It clearly is raining here at this point. We'll see exactly what happened.
No one around him, no one around him. Oh, there it is. Yep, checkup. Checkup. Huge checkup, and high ball with nowhere to go.
Yep.
And this everyone into the outside wall. I hate to be that guy, but why are we checking up that violently on a restart when we're just over halfway?
I'm not entirely sure. I was kind of wondering the same thing here at this point.
They're already going behind. They haven't taken the green flag yet.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Boy, and Zachary Mertz into the infield. He almost ran over the trucks in front of him doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're right on board with Campbell here. I mean, he's already going faster than the leaders are entering the restart. You can see the inside lanes doing the same thing. Everybody's checking up. Like, what are we doing? Like, the green flag's not out yet. Stay at pacing speed.
Yeah, I'm not sure what folks were thinking there at that point. That's it's a little strange. We got a lot more of this race left to go. Hold on to it, boys.
What's going on back here? Retro's fading back. As sounds like something's going on here. We're still under caution, by the way. I mean, there you see Roy bailing into pit road, Gonzalez into pit road. A lot of trucks just suddenly slowed up. Drivers went around them on the outside, so reshuffling of the field, perhaps. Quite a few guys are going to take the chance to top up on fuel as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's... I don't hate that call. I don't hate coming down into pit lane at this point to just get a little bit more. It's a good way to do it.
Joshua Highbaugh has withdrawn from the race. He is into pit road. Has there been another incident? Oh, they're really slow on the back straightaway. This is at speed. Why are we going so slow? What is going on under this caution, DJ? Like, why are we now this slow under yellow?
I don't know.
I wonder where the pace truck is. I think, oh, that'll be why. They crossed, the caution came out before the start-finish line.
Oh,
they had to wait for the pace. And the pace truck, remember, it's not in its spot. It's halfway down pit road. So they had to wait for it to get all the way through pit road and then all the way. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, now we figured it out. Got it.
I'll give him a pass for that one. That one I'll give him a pass. I won't give a pass for the restart.
No.
Once again, if you like season openers and all the dramas that go with them, with new storylines kicking off, you're in luck. You got 4 of them this week. You got the OMSRL Cup Series at Daytona, the Beer League at CTMP, the PRA Rev Limit Workshop Pro Series at Daytona, and the SRA IEL Truck Series at Daytona coming on up next Saturday as well. And then you just have to have the black sheep that disrupts this nice week of season openers with the High Tide Racing League. 2 races are left in the regular series season. They're racing at Martinsville this coming Monday night.
All right, plenty of good action here on the channel to keep you around and keep you excited until we get back to real racing action, which should be kicking up here in about January. Daytona coming on soon.
I believe it'll be about a 30-lap dash. What this does do is if these guys have been able to save enough under caution, this effectively makes it a one-stop race from here to the end.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's a very good point, and that's exactly what we were talking about with those drivers coming in on that little bit of a top-off. We get one more caution, this will definitely make it work. And I think here, Nolan, probably make it work as of now.
You reckon?
From what we've seen, I mean, and we're coming off, we're going to be going back to green here with 30 laps to go. We've been seeing about 15 laps or so. I think this can work.
The lights are off for the iRacing pace truck. We'll try again. Hopefully this time we will get a cleaner start than the last time. I think this is one of the situations where I'm sure there are some words that were said.
Yeah, probably right.
Some words were said, some lessons were learned, and we should be able to go green this time around, I would hope. Your over under on the day was
6.
Yeah, 6, right? Because you had 5 at Daytona. I picked 8. So right now you're on a better track than I am.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can keep it a little bit low.
Yeah, low is always good for these types of questions.
Well, hopefully it'll stay a little bit low and we'll be able to keep going here and get a good run pretty soon. Let's see. Getting themselves back around right now.
And Sogak restarted 13th. Came off of a great finish. First ever start with these guys just last week. Pulled off one heck of a field mileage game that nobody saw coming. Took the win by a convincing margin. So, and Sogak in a good prime position to look for more.
Right here they go. Coming to the line. Back to green.
Jim Duda jumping off well on the high side, but again, not able to get clear as Bailey and Fensler down low. So Zane Bailey swiftly retakes the race lead. Paul Witt still the main pusher up top. Michael Gudger, back in 5th. And then it'll be Ryan Wayne looking on the low side, running 3rd in line.
Here they go, coming back around. You know, something normal. I'm really surprised we haven't seen that 3rd lane really start to develop here at this point yet. I would have thought it would have started to play out, but we're not seeing it. Down the apron.
Into the grass, Aaron May went around on the back straightaway, but no caution. We will keep things green for the time being, but a crash down the back. And Aaron May's day goes from bad to worse as he just cannot find any luck in that iRacing number 24. Here's what happened.
On through here, let's see.
Ooh, boy! Oh, and a hard hit for him and Jared Duda into the inside. Looked to me like Duda came down from up top potentially on this.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he was trying to establish that 3rd lane, and then it all came on in.
No, we got hit.
Oh, he got hit from behind. You're right.
Gosh, that is all. That's one of the worst places they could have hit. And the worst part is, they're at turn 3 entry. If they miss that opening there, they don't hit that wall, period.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Worst case scenario, that might send 2 more drivers down and out of the race. But no caution for that 2-truck incident. We will stay green. It was at the back of the field, way down to the inside. No reason for a yellow. 28 to go. Jim Duda now pulls clear. And no doubt he's already gotten word on what has happened to his son. He's trying to see what he can do in response to try to win this race for him.
Yeah, he's going to pull up at the front of the field here at this point, try to be able to get a little bit of a run. Again, Bailey is right there, right behind him, holding on strong. I like what I'm seeing here out of Bailey all day long. Zane has been up in this conversation really since the drop of the green flag.
Yes, sir, really has. Zane Bailey has been on fire so far this afternoon. There you see Jared Duda now 1 lap down, up top. Staying out of the way. Doesn't look like there's much damage on that truck, but that was a hard hit into the inside wall. A lot of that damage, I'm going to bet, is damage that we can't see from outside.
Yeah, I've got to think there's some pretty heavy suspension damage on that machine, and that's probably going to put him a little bit farther back in the order.
27 to go with Duda, Witt, Bailey, Gudger, Fensler, and Lear, the primary trio up on the different lanes so far. Nobody dropping back throughout this one. There we see Mike Campbell started to open up a lane. He's been involved in a couple of incidents tonight, not letting that deter him, though. He is on his way to the point, and Jared Duda trying to open up a third lane as well from behind.
All right, there it is, and that is what we talked about. That is the moment that we said drivers would start to play with a little bit, try to get themselves a little bit farther up in the field, try to get themselves going a little bit more. Oh, that's not looking clean, though.
Very last minute jump to the high side for the 44 entry there, and that nearly caused a pretty hefty stack up. Now a few more trucks. Aaron Raymond, the three-time repeat champion, up to the high side of the racetrack. And he is also bringing with him the 42 of Lee Tidwell, now leading the way.
All right, we've got that high lane starting to work here at this point. Tidwell going to be pushing right along. 3 wide, coming down into the tri-oval.
3 by 3 by 3 by 3 all the way through this field for the first time this afternoon. You were talking about you were a bit surprised that we haven't seen more of that 3 wide action. I think this is really the first time all race we've had a chance to get into this type of action. The first green flag run, it went really, really long, and by the time they could go double file, everybody had made their pit stops, so they were running single file, playing it safe. And the runs they've had after that, they haven't been able to go green long enough for there to be enough momentum for it.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I mean, now at this point, know that we do have this 3 wide. Definitely the Band-Aid has been ripped off, and we are ready to play here. So let's see what they're able to do. We focus in on that number 38 of lane, just keeping things together. Got to be very careful. It is very hair-raising when you are in the middle of a 3 wide scrap like that.
Holy cow, I mean, that is a sight at Talladega, and it is a sight that, let's be real, you don't see that a lot anymore, both in the real world and on iRacing, and if you do, it doesn't last so very long on the sim, but these guys are doing a great job of making it work so far, and again, this is what we can expect to see from Daytona as well in just a week.
Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of action you're going to see when those restrictions come off. Looks like a little bit of a move there. The LSU car moving up higher on the circuit. That's the number 64 machine of Gudger. We've seen him up there as well. So love to see that.
Problem right now, you know that the second anybody makes the wrong move, it is going to cause the mother of all pileups in this field. A flip? Effectively guaranteed. The only question is going to be who and how many.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is not going to end well if this does not end well. But we've seen good driving here from out of these drivers, and so they're going to try to keep on going right now. Pushing their way along, 3 wide. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing thus far.
This will not end well if it does not end well.
Yeah,
I agree.
But we're going to frame that one.
I agree, DJ. Tell you what, they got a good pack working down low. Jim Duda, Zane Bailey, Jason Fensler, they've been keeping it single file on the inside for a while now. They've been doing a great job on keeping these 2 outside lines at bay. It's because nobody in these top 2 lines really knows who wants to lead. They're kind of just winging it, while the bottom 3 have a plan.
Yeah, I think you're completely and totally right about that. As they continue to try to go, these bottom 2 lanes have been established. They know what they're doing, and up on this top lane, we just haven't seen them really start to come into their own necessarily and really start to push ahead.
Jim Duda, Michael Gudger, right now running 1-2. Zane Bailey and Aaron Raymond in the mix as well. There you see the 13 of Justin Anasogak jumping up to the high side as he tries to make a charge now at the outside line. Aaron Raymond will be entering this new season as a 3-time Truck Series champion for the last 3 years, and he's trying to see if he can pull off the 4-peat in season number 5, but he's got a lot of competition, a lot of which are hovering right around him on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they want to see here at this point. Let's see what they're able to do as they're going to keep on going right now, pushing their way along. Again, very impressed here with what I'm seeing out of these drivers. Everybody keeping it together, keeping it nice and clean.
Yeah, it's been a very clean run so far. Not too much to complain about. You're right on board with Mike Allen right now. Clowns to the left of me, Jokers to the right, and here he is, stuck in the middle with a lot of them for the driver from Hanoch, New York. And right now, the Team Alpha 1 driver is right where you don't want to be. This is one of those dangerous places you can be. You hear him feather that throttle, trying to keep it out of Thomas Lane Jr. He can't go anywhere, though, if a wreck happens in front of him.
No, really cannot here at this point. Let's see what continues to happen, though. We're down to 20 to go. Oh, a little bit of movement farther there back in the field. You don't want to necessarily see that. That was the number 2 truck that I saw. That's Brian just trying to keep everything together.
And Brian Huntley Jr. having a quick moment at the tail of the field. Right now, though, Jim Duda plus 42 on the day. One of just 2 trucks that did not put down a qualifying lap. And now he is trying to see if he can fight his way all the way up to the front. 19 laps to go to the line. It's worth noting, despite all of this 3 wide, they are still not safe. One more pit stop is a guarantee. I wouldn't want to be 3 by 3 with that fact in the back of my mind.
No, I wouldn't either. You do not want to be in that situation by any stretch of the imagination. As they go, that third line losing a lot of momentum.
Yeah, not a lot of momentum up on the high side right now. Aaron Raymond is leading the way, but more and more drivers started to fade to the bottom. I think in preparation for that green flag window. They went up to try and get some glory, try to make up some spots, but now they have to get into whatever holes they can get because they are running out of time before a pit stop becomes a necessity. They last pitted on lap 50. That was 17 laps ago, right on the cusp of the window.
Yes, it is. All right, let's see. We've already got 1 truck looking like they may come down into pit lane, or is that just a little bit of get out of danger? That's a get out of danger moment.
Aaron Bradford not wanting to take any chances. Whoa, trouble, look out! Jared Duda back into the outside. Whoa, up, almost over. Comes back down. Caution is out. And slides across the racetrack. He's going to clip. I think he just clipped Joshua Jernigan. You saw Zachary Mertz got spun around as well.
Yep.
That solves the pit stop question.
Yep, now everybody's going to come in and everybody's going to be good to the end.
Jared Duda nearly going up and over, all 4 wheels off the ground, and something caused that truck to slam back down. The 09 got spun to the inside, and then right here, he's going to crank that wheel to the left, backs across the racetrack, and just clips Jernigan.
Yeah, and that's a little bit unfortunate. And that's a situation where it's the old adage, hold the brakes. Hold the brakes.
I wouldn't be very happy if I was Jernigan, I'm not going to lie.
No, I wouldn't be either.
Jared Duda running by himself, Mertz being pushed from up top. I think he tried to go to cut the runoff, and they just weren't having it.
No, I don't think they were.
You see Mertz getting spun to the inside, keeps it off the inside wall. And I want to point out, there's nothing wrong that the 66 truck did there. There's not a whole lot that he can do in that situation, but run with it. This is on board with Xavier Dawkins Batiste. This is what he saw. You just barely see Duda, and at the last second he jumps up, and he does lift. Mertz didn't.
And there's your problem. It's as simple as that. One lift and one not, and you're going to run into each other if that happens.
How we have not had a proper big one yet is beyond me. If anything, that should have been it right there.
Yeah, I mean, it really should have. It should have been absolute carnage coming on through, but unfortunately, or fortunately for the rest of the field, just didn't happen.
So our 5th caution of the day. And this one is going to see us into pit road for the final time this afternoon. If we see anybody else coming on down now, rest assured it is very much for an unscheduled pit stop or some sort of penalty. You're going to be good to go the distance here, even if you have an overtime attempt.
Yeah, everybody's going to be good to go and ready to roll. So that's really going to change things up in terms of this strategy. I mean, everybody's going to be full push here at this point.
Duda led them down. He will leave 4th. He took 2 tires. The top 3 all took fuel only on that pit stop, so that is why we see them now jump to the high side. Fensler and Sogak also taking 2. Then the next 2 tire takers, Mike Allen, all the way back in 17th.
Right, here we go. And driver that I singled out a little bit earlier, Zane Bailey, in front of the field.
Look at all the Toyotas up here in the top 10. You don't see that every day. Usually it's Chevy and Ford Fest up here.
Yeah, it's good to see Toyota up there. As a proud, as someone who does celebrate Toyotathon, have to say, love seeing it.
Well, it's. Well, I mean, we're in tundra season, aren't we? It's winter. You can see tundras. Yeah. They have the tundra.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, you're up in the tundra. I'm down in the, desert.
Is there desert in California?
Oh, yeah, there's lots of desert in California.
I've only been to Anaheim, so I wouldn't know.
Technically, that is, well, I think it's an arid tundra. It's not a tundra. There's like a word for it that's like
How
not
does arid
desert.
I thought tundras are cold. How does an arid tundra work?
It's basically
it sounds
the
very
same,
counterintuitive.
It's the same climate as like a tundra, except it's warm. It's like that same, like, very, very dry, like all of that. It's weird. I don't know. California's weird. Don't question it.
I think I felt a few brain cells just fizzle and die trying to understand that.
Most people have the same problem when they think about California.
California's weird.
Yep.
15 laps to go. We take to the start-finish line. Will it be 1 to green? Should be. It is. Well, DJ, I mean, call me crazy, but...
You're crazy.
Okay, well... the trends at Superspeedways when it comes to iRacing in general. Late race caution, everybody's bunched up. Out of the 44 trucks that started this race, you've still got 41 in the running, and 38 of them are on the lead lap. We're not done wrecking yet. I mean, this is going to be a mess to the end.
I'm going to be amazed if we see if we're able to get through this without another caution.
How long do you think we'll go before we get it there, though?
3 laps.
You think 3? I think we could go 5.
All right, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what we end up coming out to here.
They went 3 by 3 by 3 there for about 5 laps.
They did, and they did it very well. So.
And the wreck didn't come from 3 by 3. It came from a very poorly timed block.
Yeah. So I mean, it's well. But we'll have to see what they're going to be able to do. Let's push his way forward. There they go. Bailey again going to be leading this off. Keep an eye on Gudger, though. Let's see what he's able to do.
Michael Gudger came in during the Superspeedway Blitz of just before Season 4. Ran part-time throughout the 4th season. Had some good starts, though, some good finishes. He really showed he can be a force to be reckoned with when he wants to go for the W. And this is a place you want to go for the W1. It feels special to get a win here.
Yeah, it's Talladega. This is a special place when it comes to getting a win.
It works their way to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We're back to racing action. So Gudger pulling out in front of Zane Bailey. Oh, bit of a bump there already from Jim Duda. Bumpers lock, and we're ready to push back up to full chat.
Yep, we are going up to full speed here at this point, but crucially, I haven't seen that 3rd lane really start to develop quite yet. We may have to wait a little bit for that to go. Not seeing any movement from farther back in the field. A little bit of a gap starting to grow on that lower line.
No 3 wide as of yet. No drivers tempted to think about that. I don't think we're going to be getting a lot of 3 wide until we're within 10 to go, to be fair. I think they're going to spend these few laps here just trying to take it nice and easy, get back up to speed, build that momentum back up, and then we're going to be seeing that big push late in the race.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Starting to see a little bit of that movement up on the high side from farther back, but really only 3 trucks. That's not enough to get the momentum going.
Anthony Lane and Mike Allen are the two that have jumped up to the high side. You see them already dropping back. Anthony Lane catching the wall a little bit as he enters turn 1. That's not an ideal run. Almost drifts into the door there. The 39 of Cody Witt as well. Right now, Bailey leads the way. Gudger second. Jim Duda in third. Zach Mertz is back in the pit road.
All right, Mertz making that run down in. Gudger holding off in front. Going to come down in front of Bailey, leaving that high lane up to Duda and Anzoga.
1,000 laps to go on the docket. Bottom line, getting a bit discombobulated. Now it's Dale Rapp along with Mike Campbell making the move for 3 wide on the high side. They'll pull alongside Fensler and Moore from the bottom lane. 27 to Brendan Gregg right now being put under pressure from the high side as well as from down low. He's trying to get Aaron Raymond to get a little bit closer to the back bumper of these trucks in front.
Yeah, trying to be able to see if there's anything to play, but I'm not seeing a lot of movement. We've got one more joiner up on the high line, but everybody looks pretty content to just stay where they are here at this point.
As you say that, 2 more jump to the high side. Jeff Gilmore, John Bawalda Jr. jump to the high lane. And if Bawalda's going up there, I'm going up there. Bawalda knows how to win races.
That he does, and that's a really good point. And now here comes the 6th. That's Aaron Raymond making the move.
Aaron Raymond thinking about it. He is going to jump up to the high side. So Aaron Raymond now up to the top shelf. Currently running in 5th for the drive to High Game Vermont. Already has preseason wins. Campbell! Look out, Campbell! Turned, saves it in the middle of the field.
Oh, how he held on to that, I will never know.
Close call there for Mike Campbell as he almost lost it middle of the pack. That was unbelievably close for the number 71. 3 wide for the lead now. Raymond up top and a Sogak in the middle and Duda down low.
Almost looking like 4 lanes there at one point with somebody shifting around. Things are getting a little bit crazy.
Paul Witt now jumps to the low side of the racetrack, shoving Duda up to the middle. Duda now pushed by Ennis Sogak. Raymond pushed by Gregg. Witt pushed by Gudger. 10 laps to go at the line, and we're 3x3 right on schedule.
All right, here they go. 10 to go at the line.
10 laps the distance. Still got a lot that can happen in just 10 laps, and a lot of trucks have still got the potential to be absolutely torn up this afternoon. Again, it takes one mistake. Dudley with a bold jump to the high side, a bit further behind. He's going to try to get himself sorted. Whoa, and a Sogak, look out! Gregg going around. There's the big one. One up and over into the catch fence. 5, 6, 7. Another one into the air. It's the same truck, the 35, tumbling down the racetrack. And we got the big one. We got another one upside down at exiting 4.
Oh, lots of problems here at this point. My goodness gracious, that was the big one times it 12.
Well, we called it about 4 or 5 laps. This was going to happen. And again, 5 laps after the restart, it happened. It's got huge for a few trucks here. The 35 took a vicious ride. That was Bill Hales. I got kicked upside down. Look at the 27 of Gregg. The outside lane checked for that incident down low. There goes the 35 getting upside down, and Walden came screaming, and Campbell into the air. And the 35 over top of Gregg. And then up front, they wrecked again. Kolbensberg going to wrap into the outside wall. Look at the 22 almost get around it. And Dylan Grutzmacher up and over in a big way. And then Zach Mertz just never stopped.
No, really didn't. Just kept going and going and going and going. I mean, that was an incident that just didn't stop at any point. There's the look at it again. And you hit the nail on the head there, Nolan. It was really 2 contacts making them together. You saw kind of front and back there as they all sort of made contact with each other. There was a hit from the front and then the hit from behind as well.
This is how that second incident really started up. Rapp went down, Kolbensberger up into the outside wall, then they slid down the racetrack. There goes Grutzmacher getting up and over. And boy, Mertz What are you doing, man? Brakes. He's on board. Sees the wreck. He's trying to go for spots. Full throttle into the smoke. Never lift. He did not lift even once. I'm sorry. That is inexcusable.
No, you've got to back out of that. You've got to absolutely lift. If that craziness is going on in front of you, you cannot be cold trickle.
Yeah, doesn't work on iRacing, especially on a self-cleaning racetrack like this. There you see everybody sliding down to the low side of the racetrack, and somebody did make it out of this, and I think that was Vince Heschel that got through this down to the inside of the racetrack. Right on board with him.
Sees it all take place in front of him. Jumps down.
God.
My goodness.
Not over yet. Good job.
Brilliant job to stay out and clean on all of that. Love that for him.
He made up like 20 spots out of that. He's up to 15th now, and he was behind all of that 3x3.
Yeah. I mean, that was impressive for him to pull off. Let's not lie here.
Hard crash, though, for several. We're right on board with Brent and Greg and what he saw. As Greg took a ride, and he got a perfect view of Bill Hales as Hales went underneath him. Well, he went over him twice, I think, in that mess.
Yeah, that was a little bit crazy. Okay, we're coming back into it here at this point. Take one more look at it.
Jeez. Again, you'll see Grutzmacher down low, just had nowhere to go for the 388 then. Wow. Brent and Greg has been given the end of the longest line penalty. First contact with the 13 in turn 3. Well, that was the big one. We were waiting for it. And again, it was a question not of, are we going to get someone upside down? How many are we getting upside down? And the answer was 2. I'm a bit surprised, honestly, that Grutzmacher didn't go tumbling because he landed side up in the grass there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that as well, but still, my goodness.
I mean, I'm sure he's not complaining.
Yeah, probably not.
Grutzmacher is able to actually get back into the fray. Let's take a look. This will be a good look on how hard that hit was that he took. I don't think it was a hard hit. I think it was just unfortunate placement. And he almost had that missed as well. So 6 to go. We are not in overtime, but another caution would put us dangerously close in overtime territory.
Yeah, it would be getting a little bit close to it here at this point. Those numbers are going to be a little bit tough. We're going to have to see if they can keep it all together here and not run into any problems.
So the iRacing pace truck going to pull down into pit road. Paul Witt, Jim Duda, Michael Gudger, Aaron Raymond, Zane Bailey, Gonzalez, Fensler, Wayne Lane, and Braz for the top 10. How about Nicholas Braz? He was caught up in that very first incident on lap 3. He's back into the top 10. What a comeback drive for him.
Yeah, that's really impressive to be able to see him do that. Okay, coming through the tri-oval right now into the restart zone. 6 to go at the line.
6 laps the distance, and this race could still go either way. Oh, a couple trucks already jumping around deeper in the field, and we're already looking for 3 wide into turn number 1 with Anasogak jumping to the top side.
All right, here we go. Starting to spread out a little bit. Witt and Duda there trying to sort themselves out. Let's see what takes place as they continue working their way on through.
Dodge it down low. Witt up top. Bailey and Duda, the two pushers. Jason Fensler seeing if he can't do anything. Try and find his way back to the field. Into turn numbers 3 and 4. 5 laps to go at the stripe. Time is quickly running out if you want to make a move.
Yeah, you've got to make it here, and you've got to make it now. Car up to the high side, trying to make that third lane work. I'm not seeing it go, but let's see.
Aaron May forced into pit road. He could not go the distance with the damage that he had on his car. With 5 laps on the docket. 3 wide, the run's coming, and it's coming from up top. LeBon Van Leer leads the way.
Right, Van Leer going to try to get that to play, but only 3 trucks on that high side. That's not enough to make it work.
Well, he's going to get a 4th here, and it's from up front, exactly what he needed. 3-time defending champion Aaron Raymond takes the Monster Energy SP Designs Tundra up top. Huge shove from Van Leer coming around through 4.
Oh, that's a big, big push there at that point. Love to see that there from him. Let's see if we've got any more to play. Here they go, trying to work their way on out, and they're going to come to the line with 3 to go.
4 laps to go. A race in action this afternoon. Another one to the high side. Here comes Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez, the HendrickCars.com Silverado, trying to go to the point from up top. Dodger in the middle. Dodger down low. Witt's in the middle line. 3x3 again. They didn't make it more than a lap the last time by. Will they make it further this time? Trying to look for the white flag, but there's still 3 laps to go like this.
Still 3 laps to go like that, and it's going to be very, very difficult to keep everything together if they continue to go like this. This is not going to be easy.
Nobody said it was ever going to be easy. But, hey, winning at Talladega, no easy feat. 3 laps to go at the line this time by. Popsicle sticks will be in the air the next time around. But right now, look at that outside lane, trying to pinch the top side in, trying to hold him back.
Trying to hold him back a little bit, but it's not going to play. Here they go, car around to the back. We've got a hit.
And that's going to be overtime. Brian Huntley Jr., 360 slide and saves it, but the caution comes out. Wrecking again to the back straightaway. The 12 going around. Anthony Lane is around, stacking them up. 5, 6, and this was well after the caution came out. And we're under the caution again, and Dale Rapp just collided with someone else under the apron.
You hate to see that taking place here at this point. Too much action in it, and action taking place after yellow has already come out.
Unfortunate there. We'll get a look on what happened first off to Brian Huntley Jr. as he went around in turn 2, and I believe he would have had some help with this. For the Team SHR number 2 Silverado, jump a little bit further forward than that, but here you go. 4 wide. Kevin Roy up top. Looking like Huntley just kind of got caught in the middle and got loose. A little hit with Gilmore, and that sent him fully around.
Yep, just enough to send him spinning. You hate to see that there for him, but that's exactly what took place. Just a little bit of contact going back and forth.
And then this was under the caution flag. So the caution's out. Somebody checked in the middle here, and they didn't just ease out. Somebody, I think, hit the brakes, and that started all of this.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it was just a little bit of a checkup, and that's what caused everybody to get it swung around.
Kevin Roy involved. Campbell, you see up the road. And Rapp got it straightened out, but then had to cut down. And, ooh, hard hit with the 35 of Hales, who was just upside down a moment ago.
Yeah, just barely upside down, though. There wasn't that hard of a hit. Let's take a look here again. This is farther back in the field. There you see the ping pong.
Where does this check come? I think from the 25.
Yep.
And Campbell gets involved, and everyone gets involved. I'm not going to lie. I would have been surprised if that didn't happen. I mean, that's one of the hazards of super speedway racing like this, right? And that's why they always say, when you're in, when the caution comes out, especially if you're at the front, don't even left off. Keep that foot in the floor until you get to the next corner. Then you start to lift off and slow up. Give the guys behind you time to react first and back off of you. Otherwise, you get a whole mess like what we just saw.
Yeah, exactly. And you can really run into that problem when everything just fires off like that. It's absolutely crazy to see it. And trust me, as a driver, it's one of the most difficult things to deal with in the world. You see that coming, you feel your adrenaline rise up, and you try to hold on as best as possible. And sometimes there's absolutely no going back, and you're just going to get caught out in it, unfortunately.
Which is about getting the lucky dog free pass. This caution has sent us into the first of 2 overtime attempts. So the way overtime works, for those that are not familiar, we will tag 2 laps. We'll have the first lap green, and then we'll go green with 2 to go. And then if we get to the white flag, race is official. Whatever happens, happens. If we get another yellow flag before that, though, we'll try it again. We have a total of 2 overtime attempts in this championship.
All right, 2 attempts here at this point. Going to be hoping that we get it off and we are able to get it to play.
What immediately comes to mind when I think about this and a massive field like this is I worry we're going to get a finish of this like what we happened in the Racers for a Cause charity race about a month or 2 ago. That race looked a lot like this. It was green for a while, a few bad wrecks pushed us to overtime, and it started with 1 car going around to the back straightaway on the final lap in that race. Then there was 2, then there was 5 on the back straightaway. Then there was 10 in turn 3. Then there was 15 in turn 3, and then there was whoever was left out of turn 4. And it was one of the wildest finishes we've seen in a good long while, but I worry we're going to get another situation like that here this afternoon.
Yeah, I have that concern as well, but we'll have to see what shakes out with it. We could still have a little bit of luck here. We could still see it stay green. We've seen a couple little errant mistakes here and there, but it hasn't been anything too crazy. So I've got a little bit of hope here that this is going to play out well.
The lights go out. We'll go green flag racing on what will be lap 87 out of what was estimated to be 85, but it'll end up being 88. 7th caution of the day, so we have surpassed your number, and we're 1 away from mine.
All right, let's see what plays out and who's right.
I'll happily take a 50-50 if this stays at 7. So you're coming down to a green-white checker finish, right? And, I mean, all bets are off. You're going to take about 20 seconds to get back up to speed, but after that, what do you do? Like, how do you make sure that you can get in a position to win the race? Because you don't want to be in the lead.
No, you don't want to be in the lead. What you want to do is you want to try to position yourself on the right line. You want to figure out where that momentum is, where it's going, and how it's going to be playing. You just want to feel everything around you. That's really the key.
Gudger and Gonzalez, the 2 most vulnerable drivers, and I hate to say it, the 2 most likely to lose this race unless they can pull off some serious defense, which is not possible without making a few enemies along the way. Let's be real. But we'll see. We'll enter the restart zone this time by 2 laps are left on the clock this afternoon. It is overtime from Talladega. Green flag back in the air. Already Zane Bailey jumping up to the high side, and that is going to abandon Gonzalez in the middle. Gonzalez's chances of winning this race just went up in smoke.
Yeah, that's right, him into the sucker hole. That is not a good run there for him. He's going to get a little bit of help as things go along, but that's not going to be enough to save him, I think.
Still working their way down the back straightaway. Already 3 wide. Fensler opening up the 3rd lane, way up on the top shelf of the racetrack. Gudger continued to lead his way down low. One truck into the wall, and Sogak catches it 4 wide as they try to get around him. And the 13 will keep it up in the wall, and he will allow this field to get by down low. No caution, we stay green. White flag, 1 lap to go and 2.6 miles left in preseason for the SRA IEL Truck Series.
And crucially, this means we've got a full race here at this point. We are not going to have to deal with any more overtime. It will end.
This race ends on this lap. No matter what happens, Zane Bailey still holding on for the middle groove. Gudger trying to get something down low. Gonzalez has jumped up to the 3rd lane, but I don't think they've got the momentum they need to get back to the line. Maybe, but Raymond could have a go for it.
Maybe he could. Contact in the back. They're spinning down the back straightaway. Multiple trucks blown over.
Huge crash, 5 trucks upside down, 1 into the catch fence, monster crash on the back straightaway, coming out of turn number 4. Gudger still leads the way. There's only 3 contenders left. It's Gudger, it's Bailey, or it's Witt. Paul Witt looks high. Gudger blocks. Witt trying to pull up, trying to make the move happen. Coming to the line. Drag race. Gudger hangs on for the W, but by less than 100th of a second.
Does he?
SDK sure thinks so. Did
Race
Paul Witt
laps,
get
this
made?
is Witt.
Oh boy. Photo review for this win. A monster of a crash though on the back straightaway. We'll take a look at that in a moment. This was the finish.
I mean, this is absolutely remarkable here. Brilliant play here by Paul Witt, getting that side draft to make it work. He knew when to kind of stick out a line there. Let's take a look as they cross over, see if we can sort this out.
I don't know. I can't tell you from that.
I can tell you that looking at iRacing official, iRacing's got Witt.
iRacing is the official scorer, so we'll have to follow their line. What was the margin of victory on that?
1,000th of a second.
Ooh. Well, we kicked off
Witt's
the season.
burning it down. It's Witt. It's Witt.
Well, we kick off the season with the closest finish ever recorded on Green Flag TV. And a new record for the SRA IEL Truck Series as well. What a finish. And again, I could not tell you who won that just from looks alone.
Yeah, I mean, it is Paul Witt by the narrowest of margins. My goodness gracious.
We'll have to take a few looks to dissect what happened coming down the back straightaway into turn number 3. That was one of the most violent, wild, insane wrecks I have ever seen in my life, period, let alone on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just absolutely violent.
Oh, my.
Oh, that looks like something Jerry Bruckheimer would put up.
We're going to go back just a little bit more. One more quick flash. Try to get a look at the start. Here we go. Down the back straightaway. Jim Duda jumped up. Raymond wasn't lifting. And Duda gets turned up into the air. Van Leer caught the air. Gonzalez almost went over. Raymond was on his side. They tumble. Look at the 29 of Allen. Up into the catch fence. I think it was Dennis Setzer that did that in the Nationwide Series in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. There was another truck over. Yeah. Look at the 42 barrel rolling down to the inside.
Oh, my goodness.
I've never seen something. That is the wildest wreck on the final lap. Unbelievable. I don't think anyone got through this either. It didn't look like there was one truck that escaped that clean. Then right there you see Lee Tidwell go for a huge tumble.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And this is the last lap, right? You're not lifting for anything.
No, I mean, we talked about that incident with that instance before.
Look at everyone flying in here, hard hit into the outside wall. There's the 42. We'll get another look at the air. I want to see if anybody made it out of this, because I don't think they did.
No, I think pretty much everybody got taken through.
Except for the 3 trucks that were in front of it.
Yeah.
Look at nowhere to go. Whole track is blocked. Grootsmacher? Maybe Grootsmacher way on the inside. See that black and blue truck down there?
My goodness.
Holy cow. Up into the air. And there were a few. There were a few stragglers that did pick their way through. I think just somebody right in the mix here. I want to know who. I think it was Brent and Greg. Let's ride on board with Greg. Finished in 9th place at the end of the day. He's on board. He'll tag for Huntley, but holy cow. Talk about parting the seas. That was a hole that was open for less than a second, and he made it work. But all of that takes us to the end of a wild, wild race. And what a way to close out the finish as well. Taking us home to the race results this afternoon. Sure enough, 1/1000th of a second. Paul Witt will take it in an upset over Michael Gudger. Zane Bailey pulls out in 3rd. Nicholas Braz was in 4th. Mara was 5th. Small, Henschel, Witt, Greg, and Grootsmacher, the few drivers who escaped that big one on the back straightaway.
My goodness gracious. And then Aaron Bradford came home in 11th. Anzugak was in 12th. Then Krinky, Rincon, Wayne, Fensler, Jernigan, Lane, Cheswick, Roy round out your top 20.
Moving on down to the field, 21st place with Aaron Raymond, with Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez, Dale Rapp, Jeff Gilmore, Brian Huntley Jr., Jim Duda, Jordan Jung, LeBron Van Leer, Thomas Lane Jr., and Mike Allen for the top 30.
In 31st position, it was Lee Tidwell, followed by William Roberts. These are all drivers that were a lap down, by the way. Then Javier Dawkins Batista and Mike Campbell, Bill Hales, Bruce Dudley, John Walda Jr., Jim Kolmensberger, and Aaron May, and Zachary Mertz round out your top 40.
There, Jared Duda, Joshua Highbaugh, Austin Mitchell, and Michael Dow all failed to finish this race. And that is still one of the wildest things I think I have ever seen in all my years of commentary, for sure. We'll take a run down and give a chit chat here to all of the drivers that come home at the end of the night. And we'll look to kick things off first and certainly foremost with one Paul Witt, who comes home at the end of the night. And we thought it was Gudger. It ended up being Witt, though. Paul, you take home the final preseason race by one of the closest finishes this league has ever seen, quite literally by about a splitter's width. Talk us through that final lap.
Oh man, it's just awesome. I mean, we got some awesome teammates this year, and when I saw that wreck happening, my temps were almost through the roof, and there was only going to be one shot. It was either blow the engine or pass them. So I just went to the outside just at the last second, and I thought it was going to be too late, but I timed it just perfect.
1/1000th of a second was the margin of victory at the end of the day. This is a great way to cap off the preseason races. You've had some good performances throughout these last 5 weeks. Are you looking to carry the momentum through and potentially be a title contender come 2025 proper?
That's what I'm pushing for. I've been doing a lot of practicing and everything. So, you know, we've got a great team here, you know, with Zane coming on board, being Team IEL, with Michael and Jim and Jared and Cody. We got a pretty stout team here. You're going to see some good things out of us.
And, well, Daytona's the next one up. It's about as similar of a track to Talladega as one could possibly hope for. So a lot of good data to get exiting today and entering the proper season just 7 days from now. What's going to be the game plan when we swing back down to Florida?
Well, it's a little bit different down at Daytona than it is here in Talladega, because Talladega, you can go 3 wide without any problems here. Daytona, it's just a little trickery because you don't want to get too low to that yellow line. Once you get that yellow line at Daytona, you're going to spin out and cause some big wrecks. Here, it's not so much, but Daytona, that's the big one right there.
We'll wish you the best of luck then when we swing out next week. Who knows? Maybe we'll be talking to you again at the end of race number 1. The SRA Open is 7 days. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Nolan. Appreciate you.
Paul Witt comes home number 1 this afternoon. And that'll bring us on down to our second place finisher, Michael Gudger, standing by with DJ Clark.
Well, Michael, the closest finish we think we've ever seen on the channel, and certainly here in the league. I kind of hate to be talking to you right now, but what are your emotions?
That was crazy. That I'm not even mad that I lost it. That was so much fun. Oh, working with the guys, and we just locked out the podium. Oh man, that was so much fun.
Well, how much were you aware of the dare I say, kerfuffle that went on behind you down the back straightaway? Did you have any indication that there was a wreck of monstrous proportions, or were you fully focused ahead?
I mean, I was just watching my mirror, just trying to see who got the run and who didn't, and I heard Jim say, "Oh, I got turned," and then just this massive cloud of smoke, and just everybody died. And at that point, I was just like, "Oh, we'll just pull throttle the bottom, and whenever Paul makes the move, just block it. It shouldn't be that hard." And clearly, I blocked it just like a second too late.
Well, still, a second place is nothing to shake a stick at. Does this give you good momentum heading into the full season? Does this give you some confidence?
Of course, always going to go out there, try our best, and we're going to win.
All right, love to hear it, Michael. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
So Michael Gudger will no doubt be back for more, and then that brings up Zane Bailey, the number 2 points runner from last season, and finished number 3 this afternoon. Zane, you were, I'm talking millimeters away from getting caught up in that have to have been 20-plus truck pileup behind you. Talk us through what you saw in the mirror, and then the rest of turns 3 and 4 to the checkered flag.
Yeah, so my help got wrecked out by a bad driver. So yeah, I really didn't have a shot to win. I tried, but just didn't have the speed.
Overall, you're still able to come home on a solid 3rd place, and you're able to finish up with some good drivers as well. So you've had 5 races now with the preseason running. You've been able to get reacquainted with these trucks and reacquainted with some of the drivers, both new and old, that have made their entrances to the league now. Are you confident entering Daytona of your abilities?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely confident because it's cool that Team IEL got a podium sweep. It's real unfortunate that Jim got wrecked out. We really controlled the whole entire race throughout the whole entire night. We led most of the laps, and I never felt like I didn't have a shot to win at the end.
Championship-wise, what's going to be the goal?
Second, maybe first.
Silver's definitely not bad. Gold is definitely better. We'll see how things are going to pan out when we go racing once again a week from now.
Yep.
Zane Bailey comes home number 3 this afternoon, and DJ, what a wild way to have this race pan out. I mean, that was... I don't even know how to describe it, right? I mean, that's one of the wildest scenes we have ever seen. And by the way, we do actually have a proper photo of that finish. This is courtesy of Chase Modzalewski, another competitor of the Truck Series that was not present this afternoon. He took this screenshot and has posted it in the channel. That shows by just how little Witt won that by. And you would not be able to tell that from any of our cameras.
No, and again, that is what 1,000th of a second looks like. Absolutely remarkable.
At 190 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, there's still a long way to go. We got the, I think you're with us for the season opener next week, are you not?
Yes, I am. I will be here.
Oh, boy. All right. You know it's going to be a good time then. 250 miles are coming on up a week from today. Boy, it is going to be a wild one. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, you can check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. It's a quad season opener week coming on up. Not only do you have the SRA IEL Truck Series proper, but you got the SRA Cup Series with 2 duels and then their season opener at Daytona. Same program for the PRA Rev Limit Workshop Pro Series coming up on Friday night. And in the middle of that, you got the Beer League on Wednesday night at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Meanwhile, the High Tide Race League MF8 The Designs Cup Series will swing on out to Martinsville Speedway for race number 14 with just 2 races to go before playoff season. And there is still a long way to go as well. And, well, that's all the time we got for one afternoon, but we cannot wait for what's coming on up over the next few weeks. Once again, my name is Little Rambo alongside DJ Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week when we go racing at Daytona.